Welcome to Blessed and Boys, a podcast that has a lot of problems with you people. We're one Saints fan and one Cowboys fan, one fan of Who Dat and one fan of Dat Win. We're here to give weekly takes, game recaps, bad betting picks, game previews, and the occasional Seinfeld reference.
This week's patron saint / cowboy, is none other than former Jaguars head coach Jack Del Rio. Originally drafted by the Saints in the third round, 68th overall of the 1985 NFL Draft, Del Rio spent his first two seasons in New Orleans. From there, he moved on to Kansas City for 2 years before joining the Cowboys in 1989, where he would stay for 3 seasons, and left just before the Cowboys' first Super Bowl run, and joined Minnesota for the final 4 seasons of his career. He made his first and only Pro Bowl during that time with the Vikings before retiring, and he eventually moved on to coaching, and he coached with the Panthers, the Jaguars, the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Commanders. In case you couldn't tell, Brandon wrote this opening script. Unfortunately, Mr. Del Rio was recently arrested for driving under the influence. So I believe the state of Wisconsin may have a lot of problems with him, and he is definitely going to hear about it. I'm Paul the Saints fan.
I'm Brandon the Cowboys fan.
We're your host. Izzy, tell them what time it is.
Yeah, that's it. It's go time. Let's see you live that.
Mr. Vanderbilt, please.
It's go time.
This one's for you, Pop. It's go time.
It's go time.
You've been married 3 times.
That's it! It's go time!
It's go time.
All right, few housekeeping items here before we get to the crux of the matter here. If you'd like to contact the show, you can do so via email at blessdemboys@gmail.com. That's BLESSDEMBOYZ@gmail.com. We're still waiting for some emails. I haven't gotten any grievances via email or any.
I guess
any,
no spam either, right?
No, not that I've seen. Also, if you'd like to air your grievances with us, we're on Twitter at bless_them_boys. Capital B, capital D, capital B. You can follow myself. I'm at Paul Elliott _316. That's PAULELLIOTT _316. And Brandon is at Ball from Grace. And by the way, Brandon, I forgot to tell you this before. You're on a heater of tweets. Your last couple of tweets have been top notch, if I may say.
I've had some good. I had one that was I got a big compliment on it, and then I had another one, and right after that, the person who said this, my previous tweet, they was like, "This is great," and then I sent the if Khalil Mack had a big brother, would he be Big Mac? And the person who complimented my former tweet said, "This is garbage," and I was like, "Well, I got to stay true. I got to stay on brand."
That reminds me of when Peterman, there's an episode where Elaine hands something to Peterman, and he goes, "Well, this looks like an awful lot of words, and in good time."
Yep.
Or he's like, "I'm thoroughly impressed," and then about 2 seconds later, he goes, "But I am also disgusted."
That's my Twitter profile in a nutshell.
Well, that's pretty much Twitter. I mean, I think that's pretty much all of Twitter. But hey, if you want to air some grievances at either of us or at the show, you know where to find us. You can also stream us on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Like, share. Hey, air your grievances there. Leave a rating and review. Mm-hmm. Appreciate all the feedback. Tell your friends, enemies, random strangers. You know,
tell the bots.
Tell the bots at your Festivus gathering this year. After you air your grievances, maybe, you know, throw
after the Feats of Strength. After the Feats of Strength,
yes. All right. We'll get into some more grievances here in a minute, and some football. But before we do that, now let's talk about what we got up to. Now, we should point out this episode will drop on Festivus, which is December 23rd. We are recording this
for the uninitiated.
For the uninitiated, yes, of course. I shouldn't just assume everybody knows when Festivus is. What do you mean you don't know when Festivus is?
We are initiated, aren't we?
Yes, yeah, I would say so. So we are actually recording this episode prior to the beginning of week 16. So we just dropped our week 16 preview. So we're going to preview week 17. We won't review week 16 because, well, there's been one game. We'll talk a little bit about that, I guess. And then we'll preview week 17, and we got some other stuff. But before we get to that, so Brandon, what have you gotten up to the last 2 days since we last recorded?
Well, my wife watched Nobody Wants This yesterday, and so I came in and cut pieces of it.
Okay.
Wasn't really my cup of tea, but I did notice that someone in the show looked familiar, and then I looked him up on IMDb, and it is the I can't remember his name, but it's like Ned. He's the one that turns George purple.
It's if it's the actor Stephen Tobolowsky.
Yes.
I know him best from Memento.
Great movie.
If you've seen the movie,
It's
Memento,
been a long time. It's been a while since I've seen it, though.
Yeah, he also is in Groundhog Day. If you've seen
Okay.
Groundhog Day with Bill Murray, he's the guy that every morning.
He's Ned Ryerson.
He's Ned. Yeah, he's
Okay.
Ned.
Yes. Okay.
And Bill Murray
Yeah, so
punches him at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the I think the head rabbi in this one.
I'm feverishly trying to find his name in Seinfeld. He's been in a lot of stuff.
And then today I watched my high school played for the state championship today. I was very excited to watch that. And then we got to the third quarter. We got to the third quarter, and then I was not very excited to watch that anymore.
I'm sorry, buddy.
It started out that like they were hanging with. It was because they were ranked number 2 in the state going into this game, and then they were playing the team ranked number 1, who's like an 8-time state champion. And Kilgore's won once, which was my senior year of high school 20 years ago.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so they still have the most memorable state championship ending, I think, in history. So that gets talked about as one of the greatest games in state history. But today's game did not go quite so well. So I watched a little of that, and then once I'd had enough, my wife and I turned on the Blair Witch Project, which we'd both been wanting to see.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. It's been a long. I don't really remember any of it other than the ending.
This is the
one I had watched it before. The original one, yes.
The original, okay, from 1999.
Yeah. So had you ever seen? What was it? The Paranormal Activity. It's kind of like the same sort of like found footage.
No, I know. I'm not big on horror movies, but I definitely know of like Blair Witch, and I know of these movies. I know enough of them. So this will sound ridiculous, but basically, if it's a horror movie that people are like, "Oh, you got to see it," what I'll do is I'll look it up on Wikipedia and read the synopsis. To kind of get a sense of like, okay, how bad is it? Well, how bad is this? Like what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I did that with Midsommar. Have you heard Midsommar?
That's by the same person who did Hereditary, which is great.
Yes. So I know Hereditary also. I know what happens in it, but I haven't seen it. But like, I read the synopsis for Midsommar, and I was like, oh, this doesn't sound too bad. So I watched it. This is a couple months ago now, but we may.
I heard that one gets a little odd.
It's more scary because of it being odd. Like it's more like wait, is this really happening? Like,
yeah,
are you, you know what I mean? Like, okay. So by the way, Stephen Tobolowsky's Seinfeld character's name was Tor Ekman.
Okay, I knew it was like a weird 3-letter name.
Okay, and I have to ask this question. So I know, what was the spread in the high school state championship?
I was not able to find that. I'm actually surprised that I didn't see any lines on this one. Or the over under.
I just picture
whatever it was.
I just picture you on the phone, like
I need to
Let's
get
picture
money
the-
down on this. Yep. Yeah. I don't
Uh,
think I don't think we covered.
yeah,
I'll say
well,
that much.
okay, fair enough. Who did you play?
Salina.
Okay, I know.
It-
I've heard of yeah.
yeah.
Selena. Yeah, I've
Yes.
heard or Selena.
It looks.
It-
Yeah. It looks like Selena, but
but
it's
it's
spelled.
Selena.
It's pronounced Salina.
Okay, I've heard of that school.
Yeah. What about
For me,
What about you,
so
Paul?
for me, I watched. So based on your kind of recommendation in the last episode, you talked about Meet Me in St. Louis. So I had a little time today, so I decided to fire it up. It's on Max right now. It's actually about to leave Max. I think it was one of the first movies in the Last Chance category.
Uh huh.
Like if you go on Max, it's like right now, like that one, Goodfellas is on there. There's a couple of the films. So I was like, okay, well, let me just. And it's a quick watch. It's less than 2 hours. It's pretty
Mm-hmm.
good. You know, it's musical, standard musical fare. But yeah,
I will say
thought it was.
that's one of the few musicals that I can actually like get through. I'm not a big musical guy, but I can like
Yeah,
I can take that one.
yeah. I actually, so I guess from my years of being in band, I can tolerate.
Mm.
Yeah, I actually got to play. I actually got to play in the orchestra of a musical once upon a time
What
in
musical?
college. I don't. You may not have heard of it. It's called Parade.
I've
It's a
heard of
very
it. I
good.
heard of it. Never seen it.
So it's a very good musical. Its biggest I don't problem, I guess, is that it came out right around the same time as Rent.
Mm.
So like people don't really. It's the story of a Jewish man in Georgia, like the early. I want to say in the early 1900s. He gets accused of a crime, and he's basically guilty until proven innocent, kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Uh, so yeah, so it's a very
So
good.
this was. Oh, it's not a Puerto Rican Day Parade then.
No, not no. There is no.
There's no
Yeah, I
Black
don't think
Sob.
no, there's no Black Sob. Um, and I don't think the Puerto Rican flag gets burned
Mm.
in any way. But I also the last 2 days, I watched Some Like It Hot. Have you heard of this movie?
Yeah. So
So
you watched a couple of older movies then.
watch a couple of older movies. Yeah, this is for those uninitiated. This is a 1959, I believe.
Is
Jack
it Marilyn
Lemmon,
Monroe?
Marilyn Monroe. This is kind
Okay.
of one of her. This is one of her more, I think, acclaimed performances. So it's Jack Lemmon and
Mm.
Tony Curtis play two musicians, keeping with the musical theme. They witness the St. Valentine's Day massacre. So in order to, they basically go on the run, but they dress as women and perform in an all-women orchestra that's backing Marilyn Monroe's character.
Uh huh.
So
Huh.
hilarity ensues, and it's actually it's on the AFI Top 100 list. If you're familiar with AFI, the American Film Institute's, they do a top 100 list. Every once in a
Not the
while.
band AFI.
No, not the band AFI. It might be on their list too, but I can't speak to that.
Well, we don't know that. We can't speak to that.
I guess I'm not, and I won't speak to it. Anything else? Anything else we want to talk about? Maybe? Oh, actually, you know what? I have another DoorDash story. You ready?
Oh, again, you're on a roll with these people.
So today, I ate lunch late. Just had some stuff going on. So around 1:00, 1:15, I place an order for DoorDash. I get, they and then about 10, 15 minutes after I place the order, my phone rings and it says DoorDash. So I answer it. It's the restaurant that I ordered from. And usually those calls are like, hey, we're out of this. Can we get you something else? Whatever.
Yeah.
This one was, hey, you need to contact your driver because we're trying to explain to them how to get here and they don't speak English well. And I'm thinking like,
oh no.
Okay.
Don't they have like
so
a map?
Well, yeah. Well, okay. So I contact them through the app. You know how they have, for those who've used DoorDash, there's like a text messaging feature through the DoorDash app. So I I'm texting him, and I even like translated into Spanish. Like I like went to Google, typed in, translate Spanish, and so anyway, so I finally get them. I finally get them settled, like straight, and they're like, okay, we're on our way. Apparently, because where this particular restaurant is, it's on West Little York. It's like in a kind of an odd subdivision behind or not a subdivision, sorry, like a shopping center behind
Uh-huh.
like an auto place, like
Uh-huh.
a mechanic shop. So anyway, so I sent them a map, and they're like, okay, fine. So then about 10 minutes after that, I get a message from the driver that says, okay, I got it. We're on the way. And then this person takes the most circuitous route, because I'm watching them on the app, right?
Uh-huh.
And they're going west to get to 99, which is, for those who don't know, is like a pretty major
Yeah, it's a tollway. Big tollway.
tollway. Yeah, pretty major tollway, which where I live is not too far from 99. But then all of a sudden, like 5 minutes later, I check, and they are now going east back towards, like, away from 99. I guess they realized that they didn't realize it was tolls, and then they figured that I don't know. But then as they come back east, there's a main road. They don't get on Fry or Mason or any of the main roads. They just kind of take like back roads. So like an hour and a half, or almost 2 hours after I ordered my food, I finally got it. And it was relatively like warm.
Was it still edible?
No, yeah, it was good. It was still good, but and then I'm like, okay, I kind of feel like a banana split. So I order
Like
from
Andy Bernard.
right. There's a marble slab like 2 minutes from my house.
Uh-huh.
So I order the banana split. About 5 minutes after I order, here comes another call from DoorDash. It's from the store.
Is it the same
And
driver?
no. No, it's not the same driver. No.
You need to explain to him how to get to the marble slab.
No. This was so the driver was at the store at this point, but they had to. But they were trying to explain to me that I guess they ran out of like containers to put the banana split in.
Can you
But
put
what
it
they
in a
could
paper bag?
no, so what they basically could do, and I didn't realize this until they delivered it. They basically could give me a deconstructed banana split. In other words, like, here's a container of ice cream, here's a container with the banana, here's a container with the whipped cream, here's a container, like, so I literally got a delivery with like 5 different containers, and had to like make
It's a do it yourself sort of
it
DIY
was
banana split.
yeah, so but it was delicious. Once I
Did you
got it
put the
all,
chocolate fudge on top or on
yeah,
bottom?
I went on top.
Okay.
So I did the ice cream first,
Mm-hmm.
and then the banana. It wasn't like they just took the banana and cut it in half. They cut it into circles, like,
Okay.
which was
I kind
weird.
of like that a little better though. Then you can
Yeah, and I
control
did
your banana portion a little better.
fair enough. And then they so I did that. Put the bananas, the whipped cream, and then the chocolate sauce, and then I just ate the cherries separately.
Mm.
But
Paul,
yeah,
Paul,
so
at this point, I'm surprised you haven't just given up on DoorDash.
if
I think you're 0 for 4 on the last the last 4
what's
orders that we've talked
what's
about on this show.
what's worse, my DoorDash picks or my football picks?
Well, your college picks today are looking
Hey,
a little rough.
see how I led you there.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's talk about our college picks. So I started out 5-1. I want to say
We were tied at 5-1 on our spread picks.
on the spread picks, and also shout out to Andy, the Bears fan. He joined the standard pick'em that I set up, which is not spread; it's just straight up. I'm 6-2 on that one. I think Andy's 5-3 in that one, but But yeah, so I started 5-1, and then today, I'm probably gonna be 0-3. Well, I'm 0-2 right now because I picked Jacksonville State, and then Tulane. And then as we're recording this, the Notre Dame Indiana playoff game just went to halftime. It's 17-3 right now.
Yep.
We both
We're on
took
the same. We're on the same side of that one.
We took Indiana plus 8.5, 9.5,
Yeah, it was 8.5, and
8.5.
I feel a little better about that pick because in the actual markets, it's down. It was down to 7 by kickoff. So we were probably
On College Game Day, I think they quoted it at 6.5.
so it was getting down. Like people
Yeah.
were the money was coming in on Indiana. So we're not on.
Yeah.
We weren't. We were on the right side of that from a market perspective, at least.
Sure.
I started out. We both started out 5-1. I had Ohio minus the 1.5, and then I had Florida minus the 9.5 today. So I now lead you by a couple of games, and then I'll take, since we were on the same side here, I'll take that lead into.
So
The fact that
if
the thing is, I know basically nothing about college football, and that's why I'm doing
Well,
better, is because I have no
apparently I don't
background on
either.
it.
Apparently I don't either. Just real quick, so as we're recording this, tomorrow will be the other 3 playoff games. I went Penn State minus 8.5. What did you take the points with SMU?
I want to say I took the points with SMU in that one.
Okay.
I'm pulling it up right now. I know I took the points with Clemson.
I did as well, and then I took the points with Tennessee in the nightcap, plus 7.5.
Yeah, I want to say that one I laid the points. Okay, so I laid the points with Penn State.
Okay.
So Penn State minus 8.5.
Yep.
I'm actually Texas minus 10.5.
All right. Well, there's.
Oh, and then I took Tennessee plus the 7.5. So I remember that completely incorrectly.
So we are simpatico on the first and last game, and then the one in the middle.
I really don't feel good about taking my own team there.
In balmy Austin, Texas, it'll be. I think they were talking about like every game except that one is in like freezing weather, and then the Texas games are like 62.
Yep,
sunny. Like so.
Nice fall weather in the middle of December.
And then we've got a couple bowl games on Festivus when this episode drops. We got the Beach Bowl, the Myrtle Beach Bowl, Coastal Carolina and UTSA, and the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Northern Illinois, who defeated Notre Dame at one point this season, playing against apparently the Saints' favorite school to draft quarterbacks, Fresno State. We have we didn't draft Derek Carr, but we chose him.
Who do you have in these games?
I just went off.
I took Coastal Carolina plus the 6.5.
I did. I did plus 6.5 Coastal, and then I laid the 2.5 with Northern Illinois.
Yep, same. So we're on the same side there.
So we're simpatico. So on Festivus, we can air our grievances together if both of those don't hit.
That's correct. Or we'll be indulging in showing off our feats of strength.
Festivus is also the night that the Saints will be playing in frigid Green Bay.
Best of luck with that one. Well, speaking of Festivus, since we're not recapping a bunch of games this week, we'll be doing something else, in fact. Okay. You ready, Paul? It's time.
I'm ready.
The tradition of Festivus begins with the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
All right, Paul, I'll let you lead off this one. We each of us picked out 3 grievances for this season. I'll let you lead off.
Yeah, I'm going to start with so 2 of these are related to my team, and then one is related to the NFL at large. I'll start off with my team. So obviously the Saints with a disappointing season. starting 2-0, and then just falling off a cliff. Not firing
You
Dennis
don't say.
Allen earlier. I was trying to think the other day. I was like, I don't know when the best time to fire Dennis Allen would have been. But
A couple of years ago.
well, fair enough. Yeah, after last season.
Yeah.
But then they topped it. I think I talked about this on our last episode, but against the Commanders, they topped it by ruining my teaser that I put the Commanders in with the Ravens, the 6-point teaser. So Commanders were laying 1.5, and we all know what happened. Saints, Rattler makes this comeback. They score with no time left. They decide to go for 2. They don't get it, but they bust up my my teaser. So Saints, thanks for nothing. Appreciate you. I may have said this on the last episode, but I'll say it again. When it's time for me to be laid to rest, I want the Saints players to be my pallbearers so they can let me down one more time.
Let you down one more time.
So, what's your first
right.
grievance there, Brandon?
I think I'll go ahead and take mine because mine is also one of my grievances is also the Saints. Not only because I was also on those teasers, I had multiple teasers with the Saints in them, or with the Commanders in them, because how could they possibly win by less than 1.5 points?
Right.
So I had those, but also y'all sucked after the first 2 weeks. You couldn't have done that a little earlier. You could.
My favorite. What got me the best on that was the y'all. like I'm in that. Like I'm out there. Like,
yeah, that's part of Paul. You're involved in this. You're complicit in the being good for 2 weeks only.
If I had only tackled Saquon in that Eagles game, and
yep,
we'd been
Oh, that's it. That game too. You had a chance to beat the Eagles. If you're going to beat us, you could at least beat the Eagles, Paul. Come on.
You're really mad.
Yeah,
you really got some.
Man, the Saints, man.
You're worse than
always.
You're mad,
not even in our division. That's right. You're making our season's bad enough on our own. You didn't have to pile on.
And then my favorite thing was a couple weeks ago. The Saints and Cowboys had the same record, and you sent me like a mock draft, and the Saints had the better pick, and you're like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, "Well,
we lost to you."
I think it's strength of schedule, but I see your point.
Yes. Where's the head-to-head in this?
Right. Yeah, it's weird how they do the draft.
The tiebreakers. It gets convoluted.
The tiebreakers and it gets very.
I guess I got confused.
Yeah, I guess
it is.
Couldn't quite get the numbers to work out.
No.
All right. My other grievance against my team, so there's already reports that Aaron Glenn is basically the choice for the next head coach. Which let me be clear, I have no grievance against Aaron Glenn.
That's not a bad. Of all the coaching candidates, it's not a bad one, right?
Right. But here's my grievance. My grievance is, ever since Sean Payton left, the modus operandi of the New Orleans Saints has been status quo. Like, let's just try to
run it back.
Basically, it's like maintain consistency. Like when they elevated Allen to head coach, it was like, oh yeah, let's maintain consistency, and then just poor job of self-scouting and thinking, oh yeah, we're only one or two players away. Here's the news flash, Saints. You ain't 1 or 2 players away. You're like you're like 1 or 2
couple of drafts away.
Drafts away, yeah. Like, even if their draft coming up in 2025 was even close to the 2017 draft, which is widely known as one of the best drafts by any team ever,
Mm-hmm.
they still wouldn't be close, right? And it's things like that made us pay Derek Carr when
Mm-hmm.
they thought, oh no, we got to pay him because if we don't, the Jets will get him. If the Jets don't get Rodgers, it's like what?
Yeah. Well, the Jets, not famous for making good decisions.
Right. Yeah, we're basing our decision making on what the Jets are doing. I like that idea. And then like with the Allen thing, I mean, and a lot of people in the media are going to say, well, the Saints just kick the cat, which I agree. They try to keep kicking the can down the road, and eventually, I'm almost to the point. I think you and I have discussed this a little bit before this season. Like, I just to the point where the Saints just need to like take it easy on free agency. Don't spend. At this point, I would just say cut Carr and just eat the cap hit.
Mm-hmm.
It would be easier if we had like a better pick in the draft because then we could potentially get. Although we'll see what Rattler has the next. Yeah, that's the other thing. And
I think
another
you've seen what Hainer has, and that is
well,
not much.
and another thing. This whole like trying to protect Derek Carr's ego. So we talked about
Uh-huh.
this a little before we turned the mics on. Like Rizzy comes out, he announces Spencer Rattler starting Monday night, and then he has to backtrack and say, "Well, that's only if Derek Carr can't start Monday night." It's like, why do you have like why say that? Like,
What? Who cares at this point?
Yeah, like, and apparently, like Carr's feelings are hurt. I guess, like, because people are saying he's not coming back this year. It's like, dude, why would you, Derek Carr, risk yourself to like? It's
What are
not
you
like
coming back for?
right. Like, well, oh yeah, we're gonna make the playoffs. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Playoffs.
as soon as Tampa beats your team, we're done anyway. So,
Hey, we're still alive, Paul. Still alive.
well, it's the fat lady's warming up, Brandon, for both of us. What's
All
your
right,
next grievance?
So my second grievance is going to be Jerry Jones's comment from this offseason, which was, "We are all in on this team," which was made people think that they were going to unload in free agency. What they're actually doing, I think, was what I think the intention was all along is to let's just do like a soft reset, not add
Right.
anything here, and then next we'll keep Dak, we'll keep CD. This next offseason we'll sign Micah, and then once we've kind of cleared some stuff, then we can go and start like rebuilding basically. That
Right.
was not how it was sold. The thing with
Yeah.
Jerry is like he's always going to be selling. Like you should first of all you should never listen to Jerry Jones in the first place. But like the guy just needs to shut up sometimes. just stop talking, okay?
Did you hear?
If he's
Did you hear? Did you hear him? Did you hear what one of his favorite cuisines is? Did you hear about this the other day?
I did not hear that. I thought you were going to mention the Netflix documentary.
No, apparently I don't know if it was a press conference or he went on. No, I think he went on whatever the radio station is in Dallas that he does the call-in show for.
Uh-huh.
And I think they were asking him about Xavier Leggett of the Panthers was talking about eating raccoon or something.
Oh yeah,
and Jerry was basically like, "Well, I love squirrel." It's like, what?
Can I be honest? Like I'd rather him talk more about that than the actual football side operations. More squirrel conversation.
Welcome to Jerry Jones's cooking corner.
Yes. So the thing was,
Jerry's not from Louisiana? I know he's from Arkansas, but
they're touching. So basically the same thing, right?
Fair enough.
Yeah. So the thing was, everyone was very upset about him because it said it's about more than winning football games in the trailer for the Netflix documentary.
Oh,
I just wanted to say it could be worse. He could have said it's not about it's what is it? What was I going to say? It's like he said it's about more than winning football games. He could have said it's not about winning football games,
right.
which I also think is something you might expect from Jerry Jones. So this
Well,
my grievance goes to Jerry Jones talking about the Cowboys to the media.
well, my Mickey Loomis, the Saints GM, a couple weeks ago said you have to look beyond the results. I think this is before they fired Dennis Allen. It's like you have to look beyond the results. I'm like, we've lost 6 games in a row, Mickey. What the?
What are you looking at?
What are you looking at?
How many mushrooms are you on right now?
Oh my god, Mickey
Uh,
Loomis is another problem, but that's for another day, I guess. So my last grievance is just at the NFL in general. They need
mhm.
to get these buys. They need to get the bye weeks sorted out so that people are not in the last week of their fantasy football season and there's 6 teams on a bye.
Right.
Like you would think the NFL would be interested in like that not that in key in that not happening. And look, I know the NFL, like at the end of the day, they probably don't care about fantasy football, or they say they don't care about it, but it's like I don't know.
There are other
I just
I think they care about it, but not as much. Like there are certain things that like scheduling from a
right,
scheduling perspective, they're not going to like
and
put
I just
fantasy as their.
yeah, and I just don't understand. Like to me, you say okay, between we're gonna get all the buys done between week 4 and whatever the Thanksgiving game week is, like
Mm-hmm.
because that's what like that's a good 6-7 weeks, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
because of what the Thanksgiving was week 12 this year, week 13,
Something
somewhere.
like that.
Some,
I want to say
some,
13, but
yeah.
I'm
So
not. I'm not
I
going to
mean,
fact
it's
check myself here.
right. So let's say it's I mean, and again, and look, I'm okay with like 6 teams being on a bye at one time. Like that's not the issue. Like make that work, but. And then now with all these international games, like next year they're talking about doing games in Germany and
Well, the thing is, like
you know,
they have 6 teams on a bye, and then there's no buys, and then there's 6 teams on a bye the
right,
next week, and it's like,
right.
well, where's the consistency here?
Which I understand the week of Thanksgiving you want everybody playing. Like I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I totally get that. But to your point, like do we have to like uh you know book in that with 12 teams getting buys in a matter of 3 weeks. But yeah, it's
Can I tell you my solution to the bye week situation and the
shoot,
scheduling situation
shoot.
is you stretch the season to 19 weeks. Well, yeah, 19 weeks now. You
Okay.
add an extra week, and you
Okay.
give each
But
team 2 buys. That
so an
way,
extra week, not an extra game.
no more games, just an extra
Okay.
week. That way, you're not ever adding more games, but you're adding more weeks where you're broadcasting games. So you've still
Okay.
got, and then each team can like have a break between like the like a Thursday game. Like if they're playing on a Thursday, maybe they have that Sunday before off, and so then your
Right.
Thursday
Right.
games are better. And then so like I think that's a way to where everybody kind of wins. The players get more of a break. The league is able to broadcast more for more weeks, and so like it
But
stretches things out a little bit.
not every team is on a bye every week. Like there are weeks where everybody's playing.
Right.
Right. Right.
You
So
can probably space that out a little. Like you have like, like a third of the season, some buys, another third of the season, some buys, and then the final third of the season. So you're like, you can spread that a little more evenly, I think.
right. And look, I remember there was a year when the Saints had a bye, like their bye was like week 4 or week 5. And that was weird because it's like you just started the season and now you're on a bye. But I would much rather that than like I don't know, just like these just these bye weeks where like you like we've got all half or a quarter of the league or not playing, and then I also think they need to figure out, to your point, like folks that are playing internationally, right? Like to me, I know they give the teams a choice, but like,
Mm-hmm.
and I just don't understand like why a team. Okay, we're gonna go to London on Sunday, play a game on Sunday, and we're gonna choose to play domestically the next week. Like that I don't know why teams do that, but um, teach their own, I guess. But it
Yeah.
there's got to be. I mean, look, there's got to be smart people in a room who can figure this out. So.
You know what's really funny is like the Cowboys and the Buccaneers like a couple of times. There have been 2 seasons where the Cowboys and Bucks played each other twice, even though they were never in the same division.
Oh yeah, like playoffs, you mean?
No, it wasn't in the playoffs. It was they had like in 1990, the Cowboys played the Buccaneers on October 7th, and then they played the Buccaneers again on October 21st.
Oh, okay. That was a 16 game schedule.
That was back in the.
But there weren't 32 teams yet, so yeah. So you
so there were some like weird schedule quirks back then.
That was pre Panthers and Jaguars.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So my
what's
final,
your last?
my final grievance is the Cowboys' offense. So last year the Cowboys' offense was terrible the first 5 weeks of the season. The Cowboys had their bye, and they figured things out and became the number 1 offense in the league. For some reason, none of the lessons that they learned from last season carried over, and so this year the offense, even before Dak went down, like was just garbage. Like you couldn't have taken some of the lessons that you learned from last year and brought them into this season.
Nah.
Like it seemed like they completely forgot what they did that was successful last year. Like I don't understand, and I understand like parts of it were that they were trying to play your cousin too much. No offense. Instead of Rico Dowdle, they were also working 2 rookie offensive linemen into the league or into the game, and so that's tough.
Zeke has to eat, man. I don't know what your problem is.
I think he's been eating, and I think that's the problem.
that is the problem.
That Zeke's is the problem. Yes. And so like I don't understand what the plan with the offense was this season, and so that's my third grievance. So another Cowboys grievance. So I had one grievance against your team, and then 2 against my own. So
if I may, I'll just add kind of a little half grievance, I guess, because you just made me think of the Saints offense, which just kind of goes into the whole season. But like after 2 weeks, Clint Kubiak was like the hot shot coaching guy, and now and look, I know injuries, yada yada yada. I get it.
Right.
I mean, look, the Lions, they had 22 guys on IR or whatever, and they're 14-2 or 13 and whatever. Figure it out, okay? But yeah, so
that's the one like excuse the Cowboys have on defense is like for a big chunk of the season they have not had their like good players, and like once they got Micah Parsons back, they're actually competent. Big shocker there.
But yeah, imagine that.
Hey, if you have a good player, it makes everybody else better. Who could have ever foreseen this?
Right. All right. Does that do it with the grievances? You want to move on to the feats of strength?
Yeah, I think we're ready to show our feats of strength.
Stop crying and fight your father. But no, we won't be doing feats of strength. But what I thought we could do, in lieu of doing a draft this week, which by the way, I think I do feel a draft coming on.
I feel a draft. Let's change tables.
Get out of here. We have a booth.
In lieu of doing an actual draft for this episode, I thought we could maybe revisit some of our previous drafts and see how we've been doing for the year here. So the first draft we did way back, I think it was like episode 3, was division winners. So we each chose a division and then chose who we thought would win said division. So for me, I had the Chiefs winning the AFC West. Check. I had the Lions winning the NFC North. We're not there yet, but we're
still in question.
Still in question. Had the Ravens winning the AFC North. They have to win tomorrow to keep that hope alive. And then I had the Falcons win the NFC South. That one doesn't look so good right now as Michael Penix is about to make his NFL debut here. Brandon, you had You've done pretty well so far. You had the Texans win the AFC South, check.
Check.
Bills winning the AFC East, check. And you took your hated Eagles to win the NFC East, which is almost a check. They have to beat
Yeah,
the Commanders week 16 to
yeah.
for that to
But
be a full
they've
check.
they've got the inside track though.
Yeah. The only one you
No,
kind of whiffed on was the 49ers. You had the 49ers winning the NFC West, which I don't blame you. I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah, this was back in week. What week were we in on that?
That was like 5 or 6, I
5?
want to say. Or, yeah. So
Yeah.
it was early. This was right before McCaffrey came back, I think, or he was like they were just starting to talk about him coming back.
Yeah.
All right, then we did a draft for Coach of the Year. So obviously, there's only one Coach of the Year. Your selections, Brandon, were Dan Quinn from the Commanders, Jim Harbaugh from the Chargers, Matt LaFleur from the Packers, and Zach Taylor from the Bengals. So I would say 3 out of 4. I don't know about. I mean, I guess if the Bengals do make a run here in the next 3 weeks, but I think we also talked about Zach Taylor in a different draft, which we'll recap here in a minute for a different reason. I feel pretty good about my picks. I had Kevin O'Connell from the Vikings, who I think is now the clubhouse.
I think he's the favorite
leader.
right now.
He's the favorite. Big Red, Andy Reid from the Chiefs, Dan Campbell, who I felt like was the favorite. I think that Bills loss may have hurt his case a little bit.
He's still number 2, so like he's still up there.
Okay. And then as a wild card for me, I had Sean Payton, but I feel pretty good about that. Before the game last night, there was some buzz about him being in that running. So, so I feel pretty good about that one. We did a head coach wish list. So one of these names is already off the board. You had Belichick in your list for the Cowboys. He's a Tar Heel now. It's Chapel Bill, not Chapel Hill. Right?
Chapel Bill, that's right.
But you also had listed Ben Johnson, Adam Stinovich. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, the offensive coordinator for the Packers, I think.
The Packers, yeah. And then Joe Brady, who's the offensive coordinator for Buffalo. For the Saints, I had Mike Vrabel, Aaron Glenn, Bobby Slowick, who that one looks worse.
I was going to say, how do you feel about that one right now?
Yeah, I'm good. And then I had Liam Cohen. I feel pretty good about Liam Cohen.
I was going to say, like Liam, if I had to pick this again, like Liam Cohen would probably be one of my top picks at this point.
Yeah,
like I think he is a good candidate.
I would probably trade out Slowick for I just had the name. Oh, Munkin, Todd Munkin.
Oh yeah,
from
the Ravens offensive coordinator.
Yeah, that's probably who I would trade for. All right, then we did Super Bowl winners. So we each picked 7. So we basically picked playoff teams. So you had the Lions, check. Buffalo, check. 49ers, no check there. I mean, they're technically still in it, but they're about to be eliminated. Packers, almost a check. Bengals, you'll need a...
Still alive.
They're still
alive.
They're hanging on. They're hanging on. Vikings, check. And then Rams. Yeah, the Rams are probably going to win the West here. And then I had the Chiefs, check. Ravens, almost a check. Eagles, check. Steelers, check. Falcons, Chargers, getting there. Yeah. Texans, check. I had the Tex. I remember doing that draft. Like, okay, one of us has to draft the Texans. So who's it going to be?
They're going to win the division, so they're going to be a playoff team. So somebody has to take them.
Rich Eisen on his show today, he predicted what the wild card matchups are going to be, and he's like, "Well, we know the first game on Saturday is going to be the Texans."
Absolutely.
I forget who he predicted would be their opponent for that game. I thought maybe he might have said
Pittsburgh or Baltimore.
Yeah, probably Pittsburgh or Baltimore. It's probably who I can't remember. Then we had fun with this one. We did so in the wake of Anthony Richardson taking himself out of the game because he was tired, we came up with excuses. for him. Or how did we phrase this? It was excuses that would have been better.
What he should have said instead of
What he should have.
saying
That's
I
right.
was.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And we came up with obviously a lot of these were Seinfeld. Or I think all of these were Seinfeld
Yep.
related. You had plead ignorance. He was in fact Batman, and he saw the
And I
bat
just saw
signal.
the bat.
He ordered the Clams Casino,
Chef
and he didn't agree
recommends.
with him. Chef recommends, and he had a bus transfer that was about to expire. that's a good one.
I think two of those were from the same conversation in the Chinese restaurant where George is like was explaining his situation with Tatiana.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that one, the bus transfer for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
and I think
Clams.
the other one, the other one is the Batman.
Oh, the
one.
Batman. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
The only
Uh,
actual excuse I can think of is that I am in fact Batman, and I'm very sorry, but I just saw the bat signal.
I had another George classic. There was a fire, and he was trying to save everyone by knocking over women and children. He could have just faked an injury. That wasn't Seinfeld related at all. Just fake it. fake.
Fake.
He didn't know where the closest bathroom was, so he could have used George's iToilet app that George came up with. And that he had to, the last one was, I think you helped me with this one. He had to tutor his nephew. That was a Jerry excuse for why he couldn't hang out with Kevin Dunn's character. I can't remember. Joel Rifkin, was that his name?
Joel Rifkin, that's right. Because he
from the Mail and Bonding episode.
He had a ping pong table. I would have been friends with Stalin if he had a ping pong table.
Ping pong table sounds pretty good. All right, then we did a draft of MVP contenders. I feel really good about this because I had Josh Allen, who's what's the can you look up what the odds are for Allen right now?
Oh, he's a pretty strong favorite.
He's got to be. He's because when I put some money down on him on rebet, and I want to say I got it at like 4 + 4. We had it at plus 350. At plus 400.
Yeah, now it went recently. It went from minus 450 to minus 1,000. So that's looking pretty good.
After the Detroit game, probably. That's probably. Yep. Let's see. I got him. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't plus 4. I was Kevin O'Connell. I got it plus 350 for Coach of the Year. That's what I was thinking of. Oh, the Rams for Division 1 are plus 400. That's what I was thinking of. I got him at plus 122. I want to say that was right after the. It wasn't the Chiefs game. It might have been right before the Chiefs.
No, it was the Rams. Was it the Rams game?
No, it was way before. It was before that. For sure. I also had Mahomes and Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. I mean, at this point, it's probably coming down to. I mean, Saquon's kind of lost a little steam, but
feels like Josh Allen, then probably Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley would probably be the.
And you had Lamar. So when we did this draft, Lamar was the betting favorite. And then you also had Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, TJ Watt, which I think.
Yeah, I think we just kind of wanted to go off the board there.
Well, I was going to say TJ was hurt, but I think he is going to play Week 16 against the Ravens. He looks like he's good to go for that game. And then we went from there. We went up to the Hall of Fame semifinals. So we won't know if this is right for a while.
Before we move on, I will.
Sure.
I pulled up the current odds. So Josh Allen, I think the consensus is minus 900. Lamar Jackson's plus 550. Saquon is plus 1,300, and Jared Goff plus 2,000. And Baker Mayfield and Joe Burrow and Sam Darnold are all plus 7,500.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about well, at this point, Baker was. I mean, the Bucs were riddled with injuries, but I definitely think Baker. If we redid this right now, I probably would have Baker somewhere in here.
Yeah.
What was Mahomes? Was Mahomes on there? Did you say?
Mahomes is plus 10,000.
Okay.
So he's dropped quite a bit. I think just the narrative around Josh Allen is probably too strong for pretty much everybody to overcome at this point.
Yeah, and then we did Hall of Fame semifinalists. So again, they don't announce the Hall of Fame until the week of the Super Bowl, so we won't know this for a while. But you took Your hometown favorite, Darren Woodson, James Harrison, Earl Thomas, and Anquan Bolden. I took Luke Kuechly, Jari Evans, Steve Smith Sr., and Adam Vinatieri. So we'll see how we'll check back on that around Super Bowl time. And then for the number one pick, the number one draft pick team. So we both have the front runners. I have the Giants.
I was going to say we did pretty well on these two.
We did, yeah. I have the two New York teams. I have Giants and Jets, Patriots and Browns. You have the Raiders, the Jaguars, the Panthers, and the Bears. Two of those teams are playing each other this week, or in week 16, as we talked about in the last episode. Raiders and Jaguars. Somebody must win.
Yep.
Well, I guess it could tie, but
must lose.
And then we did coaches likely to be fired or move on in some capacity. So I took Doug Peterson, Brian Daboll, Kevin Stefanski, and Zach Taylor, who you took as your coach of the year in your coach of the year draft. So I'm pretty. I mean, it's going to be one or the other, right? And then I
feel like he survives and the defensive coordinator gets thrown out.
Yeah.
That's probably what ends up happening, I think.
Yeah, I keep saying Dennis Allen's going to be the defensive coordinator as the Bengals next year, but what do I know? You, for your coach is likely to be fired or move on, you had Antonio Pierce, Mike McDaniel, Mike McCarthy. What do you got to think against Mike's? What's going on there?
That might not end up happening at this point.
That's true. And then you held the Mayo. You had Gerard Mayo for the Patriots. Excuse me. I'm trying to think if there's any other names. The McDaniel one, I think, has some steam to it. I heard.
It seems like it's
Peter Schrager. Peter Schrager was on Bill Simmons' podcast, and they were talking about Shanahan, because that's been a rumor too, that Shanahan may get traded or whatever.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing that.
And then Schrager said the McDaniel one, the way Stephen Ross kind of operates, who's the owner of the Dolphins, like he wouldn't be surprised if this disappointing season, if
he fires people like it's a bodily function.
Yep. George, I've had to fire a lot of people in my. I love it when he goes through the list of people and he's like, and then he gets the Buck Showalter. He's like, you didn't hear that from me, George. Because that was right. Because that was when Showalter was the real manager.
Former Ranger manager, Buck Showalter.
Former Oriole manager as well.
Yep.
And then the most recent draft we did, I think, was the non-playoff. Well, no. The one we did last episode was we drafted the 12 teams that were in the playoff.
Correct.
The one prior to that, we drafted the non-playoff college bowl games. Two of these games actually happened today. So I had the ReliaQuest Bowl, which is Alabama versus Michigan. The one today was the Gasparilla Bowl, Florida Tulane. And
as I referred to it to you when it was like 9-0 in the third quarter, I called it the Asper.
It rhymes. I was gonna say it rhymes with gas, but yeah. I also had the Pop-Tart Bowl because it just sounds delicious. Miami and Iowa State. I'm sure Robert Kennedy will have something to say about that one next year. But and then the Music City Bowl, Iowa and Missouri. You went with the Alamo Bowl, Colorado, BYU. The Independence Bowl, which at the time was Army and Marshall, but now it's
no longer Army Marshall.
Army and Louisiana Tech. The Cure Bowl, which was today, that one ended up okay. Jacksonville State made kind of a comeback against Ohio in that one, but Ohio.
Big shout out to Ohio.
The Bobcats, yeah. I think we probably had this conversation before, but who's the famous NFL alum that went to Ohio? We'll figure it out. And then I feel that I could picture somebody in my head, but I don't remember the name. And then you also had the Las Vegas Bowl, USC and Texas A&M as your other one. So yeah, so that was a good way to kind of recap, check our work as it was. Check see how we did.
I,
While you're looking
I
up,
don't see I don't see anybody in here that looks particularly interesting. There was Terrell Basham who played for
okay,
the Cowboys.
where
Um,
did where did Miles Austin go to school?
oh, he was Monmouth.
Okay, I for some reason that's who I was thinking of as maybe I don't know why.
Are there any
But anyway,
Saints in here? Let's see.
maybe
Nobody drafted by the New Orleans Saints at least. These are all
yeah,
draft picks. So
yeah.
yeah, that's the only thing I see. Les Carney, the Baltimore Colts.
Okay,
No relation to John Carney.
probably not. Oh, do you know who is a famous? I just looked up Ohio University famous alums.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Paul Newman,
Oh.
Ed O'Neill,
Yeah. Not Paul O'Neill.
not Paul O'Neill, no. Uh, yeah, let's see who we got here. Benjamin Butterworth.
No related to
Let's
Mrs.
see.
Butterworth.
No, I don't think so. These are obviously not football related individuals. I'm just looking for. Let me see. I don't care about religious leaders. Why would I? Why would I care about that?
The Pope?
Who else we got? Oh, Peter King,
Oh.
famous, the ESPN. Yeah, he's an Ohio alum. It appears. Let's see. Educators, researchers. That's boring. Here we go. Let's see what we got in terms of slow. Oh, Richard Dean Anderson, MacGyver,
Oh.
the actor the original MacGyver, not the phony
Not
that.
the remake.
Yeah, not the remake. Who else we got here?
That Michael Jordan is so phony.
Why'd you tell him? Yeah, Paul Newman. You know who Ed O'Neill is, right?
The name sounds familiar. I'd have to
Al,
look him
he's
up
Al
though.
Bundy. Al Bundy
Oh, okay.
from
Okay.
Married with Children.
Yeah.
Or you might know him better as from Modern Family. I forget what his character's name was in Modern Family.
I know who you're talking about.
Also, Logan Paul, for all the kids out there. Logan Paul's
Uh-huh.
a Ohio University alum.
Yeah, don't tell people that we're not hip. We're hip.
Yeah. I am in the. Okay, here's some athletes. Yeah, nothing. Couple of there's
Nothing.
a. Let's see here. Do. Yeah, I'm not seeing any. Art Lewis.
Not Art
What's
Vandelay. When you said
no
art,
no.
I was like
Yes.
Art
Yes. Art.
Cordelay.
Oh, here we go. Baseball Hall of Famer Mike Schmidt,
Oh.
third baseman for the Phillies
Yep.
back in the day. Oh, okay. This is random. I think I was thinking of there's an NBA player from years gone by named Gary Trent. He was a
Portland
forward.
Trailblazer?
Yeah, he moved around. He's a immaculate grid cheat code,
Okay.
I think.
That's
on the
who I
NBA
think
side.
of. I think of him as the Trailblazers, I think.
Yeah, I want to say he played for and his son's in the league, or his son was in the league, I think.
Gary
Also,
Trent Jr. Maybe I'm thinking of
yeah,
Gary Trent Jr. as the okay, wait, Gary Trent Jr. Oh, okay, Gary Trent Jr. was originally drafted by the Portland Trailblazers. That's who I'm thinking of.
Gary Trent Sr. was nicknamed the Shack of the Mac.
Also played for the Trailblazers.
He did play for he was drafted by the Bucks. He was immediately traded to the Trailers for Sean Respert. There's a name from the past. Okay, he did play for the Mavericks. That's why I was like, I think he played for the Mavericks. And then we're just one last one. Bob Snyder. Is this was he the Kansas State head coach? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
It's got to be. Like that's the only famous Bob Snyder, right?
No, that was Bill Snyder. That was Bill Snyder,
Oh,
I
okay.
think. Bill Snyder was the Kansas State head coach. Bob Snyder was a coach, but it wasn't the. All right. Well, that was a nice little cul-de-sac we went down there. So as we mentioned, we're not doing a recap of Week 16 because Week 16 hasn't really happened yet. Although we do want to talk about the Thursday night game a little bit. So the
Mm-hmm.
Broncos Chargers game. Chargers win the game. I don't remember what the score is, but I do
I
want
want
to
to say it
talk
was
about
34-27 is I think.
Yeah, that sounds right. But I do want to talk about the last play of the first half. You and I were talking about this before we turned the mics on.
The free kick.
The free kick, yeah. So this is it's amazing how many NFL rule experts are on Twitter because when this happened, like everybody starts, oh yeah, they can. So apparently the rule is we were looking this up. If you call for a fair catch at the end of of either half,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no time left on the clock, you
Correct.
can elect to do a free kick, which is basically like a kickoff, in that the defending team cannot rush you. You can kick it off a tee, or someone can hold it, which I think in the Chargers game they actually had somebody hold the ball for former Longhorn legend Cameron
Dicker, who has
Uh,
one of the greatest Pro Bowl ads on Twitter. Have you seen this?
I did see this. I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw bits and pieces of it.
Mm.
But anyway, so he ends up kicking it, and what was it, 51 yards? 50. It was in the 50s, I
Yeah.
think. And that got him, and that got the Chargers, and really kind of got them some momentum because the Broncos are really I won't say dominating the first half, but they were taking it to the Chargers.
It looks like it's 57 yards. I'm looking at the picture right now.
Okay,
It
50.
looks like it was from the 47-yard line.
Okay, because I thought it was 57. Okay, but yeah, so just wanted to point that out. We'll talk more about. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to recap on our next episode. We'll be doing a recap of Week 16 and 17. We'll do a preview of Week 17 here in a minute. But before we get to that, I just want to do a quick playoff roundup here.
Before you do that, would you like to take a guess at how many successful fair catch kicks have been recorded in NFL history?
Okay, so this is all time.
All time. How many have been? This is converted.
I'm guessing it's a single digit.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 4.
7.
Oh, okay.
So not too bad. You got the single digits. Yeah, 7 Costanza. Would you like to take a shot at how many have been attempted?
At least 7.
Yeah, more than 7. That is correct.
That's how math works. I'm gonna say 10.
It's actually quite more than that.
Really?
Huh. It's according to the article I'm looking at on Sports Illustrated, it says at least 29.
At least 29.
Yep, and it looks like the last one was.
That's a hell of a.
Well, I think there's probably some record keeping.
Well, yeah, but like
it's going back to the 70s.
Well, it's
like before the 50s.
But 29 is such like a random number. Like I would have just been like.
It's probably we have 29 firmly on record.
Confirmed, yeah.
Yeah. And so apparently the last one attempted was in 2019 by Carolina's Joey Sly.
Oh yeah, Joey Sly. He's now with the is he still with the Panthers? I don't think he's with the
I don't think he is.
I mean, he's still in the league though. I saw him.
He attempted one and missed it wide right. So maybe he's with the Bills.
There you go. Maybe he is. That's a shame. Okay, so real quick, let's do a playoff roundup here. So the following teams have been eliminated from playoff contention, and keep me honest here, Brandon.
Okay.
In the AFC, we have Jets, Browns, Titans, Raiders, and Jaguars, and Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, Colts have not technically been eliminated yet, but they are hanging on by a thread.
Right. So right now there are 10 teams fighting for, 10 take the Bills and Chiefs out of this equation. 8 teams fighting for 6 spots, basically, because you've got um,
5 spots.
and 5 spots. Yeah. Because excuse me. Let me make sure I've got this right. I think I may have missed somebody on the list here.
Quick update: Joey Sly is currently on the New England Patriots.
That's who it was. Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, because I was like, I feel like I've been watching him because I watched the Drake. I watched the Keep Up with the Drake. Yeah, so in the AFC, Raiders, Patriots, Titans, Jaguars, Browns, and Jets are all eliminated. To your point, the Colts, Dolphins. So actually, I saw this. Shout out to Joe Ferreira at Joe NFL. He posted this. So with the Chargers win last night to kick off Week 16, if the Colts, Dolphins, and Bengals all lose in Week 16, the 7 AFC playoff teams will be set, and it'll be the first time since the merger that a conference has all playoff teams set with 2 weeks left to go. Now, obviously, the seeding can still fluctuate, but the teams themselves will be set. So that's something to keep an eye out for Week 16. In the NFC, there's only been 3 teams eliminated officially in the NFC: the Giants, the Panthers, and the Bears. Saints are teetering.
49ers are also teetering.
The Cowboys are teetering.
Still alive, though.
You got.
You're telling me there's a chance.
I'm telling you there's a chance. And then in the playoffs, I guess I'll start with the NFC. There's 3 teams clinched in the NFC. Nobody's clinched a division yet in the NFC, but the 3 12-2 teams, the Lions, the Eagles, and the Vikings, they've clinched. All 3 of those teams are still technically in the running for the 1 seed. The Lions and Vikings are kind of in the driver's seat in terms of they just went out. They're the 1 seed. The Eagles would need a little bit of help to get the 1 seed at this point. But and in the AFC, 3 divisions have been clinched. We talked about this a little earlier. The Chiefs, the Bills, and the Texans have clinched their divisions. If the Steelers have clinched a playoff spot, but if they beat the Ravens on the Saturday of Week 16, they will clinch the AFC North.
Correct.
So that's and then if the Ravens beat the Steelers on that day, the Ravens will clinch a playoff spot, but not the division. So that's where we stand right now as we talk. Now, obviously, then by the next episode, we could have all the playoff teams. Well, at least in the AFC. I don't think the NFC will be
not yet
all the way set by that point. But we'll see. All right, so let's get into Week 17. So the second to last week of the season begins on Christmas Day.
The penultimate week, some would say.
The penultimate week. So sorry, NBA.
We're going to take this. This is ours now.
So think about the NFL. They take college football playoff away because there's 2 games on the same day as the 3 college football playoff games. And now they're taking away the NBA's day by putting 2 games. Both of these obviously will be on Netflix. Hopefully there's no buffering issues, but
I will say the college football playoff, like they picked their own. The NFL probably had that set up, lined up before in advance, and so the college football playoffs probably didn't help themselves there.
That's fair. All right, so let's go to the Christmas Day games. We'll start with
we should
let's
talk about this. So what we've done this week is what we usually do is we use the ESPN pick'em lines. So we're using their number regardless of whether the market's changed. But this time, since ESPN's pick'em lines are not released yet, what I've done is I went through, I listed the games, and then I guessed the line myself, and then checked that against the Action Network, most popular, or basically like the consensus line across the board there. So I've got the lines here. So Paul will be guessing the lines as we go through the games.
Right.
I will tell him what I guessed as well as what the actual line is.
Right. For
So
fans of the Bill Simmons podcast, we're stealing his gimmick a little bit here.
that's
So
right. We're gonna steal the
shout
bit.
out to Bill and cousin Sal. So the first game, Christmas Day, Rocky
Mhm.
Bowman, is that how you pronounce this?
That is
Bowman?
correct. Boyman, I think.
Boyman
Yes.
presents Chiefs at Steelers. I am going to say this is going to be Chiefs minus 1.5.
So that was my guess as well.
Okay, so we're
It
going to
is
split this one.
Yep. So this was actually Chiefs minus 5.5.
Phew.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was. I thought that was a lot. Just given, I guess market is probably just down relative to where we are on the Steelers, right? Because
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess they're looking at because Watts injured. Pickens didn't play against the Eagles.
yeah, so maybe that's part of it. But I
Maybe
think
maybe that's part of it. I
I
don't.
would think he's back by now, right? I mean,
Yeah,
but I guess this is also assuming Mahomes is fully healthy for this game too.
that too. Yeah, because as of this recording, the 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 thought is that Mahomes is going to give it a go tomorrow against the Texans, and then obviously he'll be against the. So yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, I'll probably take the Steelers here with the point. I mean, again, now what we'll do is once the ESPN spreads come out, when we tweet out on the day of the game, as I normally try to do, we'll have the ESPN number in there. So this number may not be 5.5 when that day comes, but
Correct.
we'll see. All right, moving on here. The late great Jacoby Jones, native of New Orleans, Louisiana, I should point out.
Mhm.
Jacoby Jones presents the Ravens at the Texans. Okay, so I'm going to say this is going to be Ravens minus 4.5.
4.5. So I had this at Ravens minus 2.
Okay.
The line is Ravens minus 3.5. So you are 1 point off. I am 1.5 points
So
off.
I get that one
Yep.
because
That's Paul.
I was close. I was closer. Yeah.
Yep.
So what is it? What's the actual number? 2.5.
Ravens minus 3.5.
Minus 3.5. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll put Texans plus 3.5 here.
Yeah, I mean that feels right. I think part of this is look at what the Ravens just did. Again, granted it was against the Giants, but or the most recent game that we've seen. I'm wondering, depending on what the result is of their game against the Steelers, the Ravens that
Right.
is,
Yeah. How
like
this gets
how will
adjusted.
how will that get adjusted? I mean, obviously if there's significant injury or something like that, then obviously this will move as well. But yeah, I think we'll both probably lay the points with the Ravens here.
Yeah, I have a hard time just trusting the Texans' offense against anybody. I know their defense is good, but I
Yeah.
can't buy into that offense, especially against the
Well,
Ravens'
they're
defense isn't great.
it's
It's
the
just
Texans. The Texans offensive line is really bad.
really bad.
Yeah. So, all right, moving on here. Speaking of Notre Dame, which by the way, just a quick score update: Notre Dame's up 20-3 on Indiana at this point. Notre Dame alum Rick Meyer, former number 1 pick Rick Meyer, I believe.
Rick Meyer also played in the last time the Notre Dame played against Indiana.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
I can't remember who Notre Dame
Indiana
won the
quarterback?
game. I can't remember the opposing quarterback though.
For Indiana,
Yeah.
oof. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. But Rick Meyer presents. This is a Thursday night game. So this is the 26th of December. Seahawks at Bears. They couldn't flex out of this one, I guess.
I guess not. Is there a Simpsons game going on here?
No, I don't know what it was. They probably just They probably, honestly, they probably thought, because this is before the Geno injury. If Geno's playing in this game, it might be somewhat entertaining. But
Right.
if it's Sam Howell versus Caleb Williams, this is Al Michaels may just drink on air if he doesn't do it already.
It also looks like Geno's leaning toward playing this week. So there's going to be the question of like, does he play this week? Does he aggravate the injury this week as well? Like I don't know if he like I don't know why Geno would so Geno's expected to play this week, but things could like go wrong and he could get injured again. So there's still the question like if even if he plays this week, then he might not play next week. All right, so given all that, Geno's status unknown moving forward, what do you think the line is here?
Oh yeah. I'll go Seahawks -1.5.
Seahawks -1.5. It is actually Seahawks -2.5. We are both. I had Seahawks -3.5, so we were both off by one.
All right, so we split it. Yeah.
Another push.
So, yeah. I mean, again, this is just going to come down to Geno. Like, if he's playing, then I'm definitely going to take. Well, even if I don't know, man, this is. Oof. Is there a bowl game on this night?
Is there anything better to watch?
Let's see here. There's got to be a bowl game on the 26th. Let's see. Yeah, there's 3 bowl games on the 26th. Can I offer you Arkansas State versus Bowling Green in the 68 Ventures Bowl instead?
Sure, why not?
Or you can also that earlier that day you can watch Rutgers Kansas State, or you can watch Pitt Toledo to kick off your day.
Pitt Toledo I could get into, I think.
There you go. Okay, so yeah, I think I guess I'll lay the point. I'm gonna lay the points with the Seahawks because the Bears. I'm just tired of betting the Bears and they don't come through for me. So
yeah, it's hard to trust them at this point.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Hey, we got a triple header on Saturday of week 17. These games were just announced earlier this week. So we'll kick off with Doug Flutie presenting Chargers at Patriots. So assuming the Colts, Dolphins, and Bengals don't all lose in week 16, this game for the Chargers will be a win and you're in the playoffs. Obviously for the Patriots, they're just playing for pride at this point or something like that. So let's see. This is at New England. It's an early game. I'm going to go Chargers -2.5.
Okay, so my guess was Chargers -3.5.
Okay.
Chargers -5.5.
Okay, so you get that one.
I get that one. By the way, I found the Indiana quarterback who played against Rick Meyer in the last time these teams played.
Yeah.
It was a quarterback played for, I would say his most, the teams you associate him with would be the Kansas City Chiefs and the St. Louis Rams.
Oh, Trent Green.
That is correct.
Trent Green. Yeah, I forgot Trent Green was a Hoosier.
That's correct.
I forgot about that. Good.
All right.
Trent Green. Trent Green was the quarterback that Kurt Warner replaced, right?
Yes. That's what he was most. I think that's probably what he's most remembered for, sadly.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Trent, yeah.
Because he was really close with the was it Dick Vermeil who went from the Chiefs to the Rams as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, shout out to Trent Green. All right, next game here on Saturday. Now, this is a really important playoff implication game here. Garrison Hurst presents Broncos at Bengals. So, again, assuming the Bengals do not lose in week 16 and they're playing the Browns, This game,
They are also playing Dorian Thompson Robinson.
correct. They benched Jameis. They're going with DTR.
Mm-hmm.
This game, Broncos Bengals. If the Broncos win this, they would get in. If the Bengals win this, then that would make Week 18 a Broncos have to beat the Chiefs to get in. Otherwise, the Bengals could get in, assuming the Bengals would also need the Colts and the Dolphins to lose a game at some point. But anyway, Garrison Hurst presents Broncos at Bengals. I'm going to go. We haven't had a home favorite yet, have we?
No, it's all been road favorites to this point.
Okay, so I'm going to go. I'm going to see if we can get a home favorite. Bengals minus 3.5.
So my line was Bengals minus 3.5.
Okay,
It is Bengals minus 3.
Okay, so we push. We're close.
Yeah, we split that again.
This is 3.5 is like the neutral field on a neutral field.
It's probably I would say this is probably like a point Bengals game. I think the new home field, because of like travel it used to be 3. I think it's probably closer between 2 and 2.5 at this point.
I'll probably take the. Oh, I guess we should mention on the Chargers Patriots game. I took the Patriots. I took the points with the Patriots.
Yeah, and I took the Chargers
because I can't learn my lesson. The Drake. I
You're
love
on
the Drake.
You love the Drake.
But I'll lay the points with the Bengals on this one here.
All right.
All right, and the nightcap on Saturday. Another New Orleans native, Aeneas Williams, went to school at Southern University there in Baton Rouge.
We really don't have enough players named after famous Greek heroes.
It's true. Yep, it's very true. He presents Cardinals Rams again. Another important game here. Depending on what the Seahawks do in week 16, and then against the Bears in the Thursday game we just talked about, Rams could lock up the NFC West with this one. Rams play the Jets week 16, so you'd think that's going to be a win. Cardinals are going to play. The Cardinals are playing the. Oh gosh, I can't remember. I know, but I should. It doesn't matter. But if the Cardinals win, Cardinals are 7-7.
Let's see. The Cardinals play the Panthers.
Okay, so that should be a win for the Cardinals. You would think, but both of those games are on the East Coast. Those are both road games for these teams. So for what it's worth, for this game, Cardinals Rams. I'm going to go another home favorite. I'll go Rams minus 2.5.
So my line was Rams minus 2.5. Actual line is Rams minus 3.
There you go.
So we're pretty close. Yeah, we're in the ballpark here.
We're in the. Yeah. I feel good about that. I'm gonna lay the points with the Rams. I just feel like the Rams are hitting their proverbial stride.
Yeah, and the Cardinal
it's 2.5
minus 3. Rams minus 3.
Okay, it is 3. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like the Cardinals have kind of fallen off lately, and so it feels like two teams going in opposite directions here.
Yeah, and again, these lines could move depending on what happens in week 16.
Next week. Correct.
All right, Sunday early game. He may not be playing in this game, but he's presenting this game. Derek Carr.
The airing of grievances presents.
For the record, we could have gone Tracy Porter. We could have gone Leroy Glover. We could have gone Pat Swilling.
Pat Swilling, the sack legend.
Yeah, member of the Dome Patrol. But Derek Carr presents Raiders at Saints. The Raiders ain't trying to win, I don't think. And then the Saints will probably be eliminated from the playoffs by this point. But they're playing for pride, for what that's worth. That's a feather in their cap. I'm going to go Saints minus 4.
Ooh. Saints -4. So I had this at Saints -2.
Okay.
Game is Saints -2.5.
Okay, so you get that one.
Yep.
I just
obscure.
thought with the Raiders are that bad. Like they
The Raiders are very bad. I don't
like,
think I'm guessing that the difference here is going to be the Spencer Rattler
well, there's that,
slash.
and then the Saints, remember, finish week 16. They're the Monday night game against
They're on
Green
a short
Bay.
week.
So they're on a short week. So
But have you considered that the Raiders are very bad?
I mean, obviously I did. That's why I said people listening probably said,
That's
why would
true.
you think the Saints would be favored by 4 points against anybody? All right, moving on here. Another quarterback legend? Question mark. Brett Favre,
Who has some grievances against him lately?
well, yeah, the state of Mississippi's got grievances against him, and warrants too.
Yeah.
Brett Favre presents Packers at Vikings. So this definitely will have implications for the Vikings, assuming the Vikings take care of business against the Seahawks this week. Packers, as we just mentioned, will play the Saints on Monday night of Week 16. Oh man, the Packers, I think, still technically have an outside chance of winning the NFC North, but they would need a lot of help at this
Yeah,
point.
because you got two teams at 12-2 right now.
Well, and they've lost.
And the Lions have beat you twice.
The Lions beat them twice. The Vikings already beat them once.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is in Minnesota. I'm going to go Vikings -3.5.
All right. So I will go ahead and tell you that this is the game that I was also very wrong on.
Okay.
So I had Vikings -2.
Okay.
You have Vikings -3.5. It is Green Bay -2.5.
Excuse me?
Yeah, that's what I thought. It is Green Bay is favored.
So you get that one because you're closer.
But we were both very off on what the market has there.
The only thing I can see is if the Lions can't wrap up the 1 seed yet, though.
The only thing I can think of is that like nobody believes in Sam Darnold at this point, and they still think that.
But like, okay.
Here's let me look at let me. Okay, so let me go back on this because so Caesars has it as Packers -2.5, but a bunch of the other sports book have it as Vikings -2 or Vikings -1.5. So Vikings -1.5 is the more common one. Caesars is kind of the outlier there. So it should really be. It should really.
You'll
be
still
-1.5.
You still get the point. Yeah, because
right. But that's more in line with what we think, though. Right, having the Vikings favored.
You still get the point there. Okay. Yeah, and I'll probably end up again. It depends, because here's what I was going to say is what happens if like the Packers lay an egg against the Saints, or like they maybe don't lose, but like they kind of play less than stellar.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that changes, and the Vikings just wipe the floor with the Seahawks or something.
See, this is probably where I'm going to be like making this pick is like I'll take the Packers with the points right now, but if Green Bay comes out and just like falls flat, then I'm going to feel bad about that, and I'll probably end up flipping.
Right. Yeah. I'll lay the points with the Vikings for the moment. All right. Next up, Paris Campbell from the Ohio State University presents Colts at Giants. Could have gone Saints legend Kerry Collins. All right, so the Colts, again, if they lose this week to the Titans, then they are eliminated from the playoffs. And if they lose this game against the Giants, they're eliminated from the playoffs. Okay, the Giants were just the Ravens just laid 14.5 against the Giants.
It got up to 16.5 by the time it closed.
16. Who are the Giants playing this week? They're playing
Someone pretty bad, I want to say.
It's like, yeah, it's the Falcons.
Oh yeah, that's
Falcon.
right. Oh, because Penix is making his debut
Right.
against them.
Right. That's the Danny Cannell game. So the Falcons are laying 9. I'm gonna say Colts minus 6.5.
So my line was way short on this. You are dead on. It is Colts minus 6.5.
Boom.
Nailed it.
Which, not saying I agree with that, but I mean, my thinking was, okay, if the Falcons are laying 9, Colts are probably going to be viewed as like a somewhat
Kind of similar.
inferior, or well, yeah, similar, but like the Richardson factor, right?
Right.
Would probably
Well, it's also the Falcons are at home, whereas this game the Giants are at home.
right. Well, that too, yeah, that too. I'll lay the points with the Colts here. All right, moving on. Another Saints legend, Chris Ivory.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
Longview
he had
legend. East Texas
Oh,
legend.
that's right. That's right. I forgot he's a Longview, a Lobo. He had a couple of good seasons with the Saints there. He was in that, like, there were a couple of running backs there during the Breeze era where, like, it was like Mike Bell, Chris Ivory. There was another one I'll think of later, but anyway, Chris Ivory's presenting Jets at Bills. So this is the Bills kind of in the middle. We talked about this in the last episode. Bills' last 3 games are Patriots, Jets, Patriots. So, and the Bills still do have an outside shot at the 1 seed. They need Kansas City to keep losing, but you know, it's a shot nonetheless. Okay, the Bills. I know the Bills against the Patriots are like laying 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And that game's in Buffalo, week 16. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to say this is Bills minus 10.5.
So I was right on this line. It was
Okay.
Bills minus 9.5.
Ooh, man, that was close. Okay. I just figured with Rodgers they would give him a little bit more credit than.
In fairness, I will say that there are places where you can get it at Bills minus 10. So I think we can say we split this one because it's a little
that's
bit
fair.
a little. It's kind of in the middle. Like
I would
see
have given
9.5. I see 9.5, but I also see 10.
I'd have given it to you. That's fine.
Yeah, we'll call it a split.
I don't think the Bills are going to be resting anybody in this game. Because again, so in week 16, the Chiefs can clinch the 1 seed if they win and the Bills lose, which means, if my math is right, that would mean if the Chiefs win in week 16 against the Texans and then win in week 17 against the Steelers, the Chiefs would clinch the 1 seed. So by the time this game kicks off, the Chiefs could have the 1 seed already locked up. Which I don't know if that matters for the Bills, because the other part of this is if the Chiefs are beating the Steelers, then that puts them further away from the 2 seed. So maybe the Bills have the 2 seed locked. I don't know. So, but I wouldn't rest players this early. I mean, you maybe rest them you rest them week 18, but not week 17. All right, moving on here. This game has no playoff implications at all. Maybe some draft implications. Jonathan,
who are you taking for this game? You taking?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll lay the points. I'll lay the points with the Bills.
Okay.
I'll lay the points with the Bills. Jonathan Cyprian presents Titans at Jaguars.
This is another airing of grievances because I wanted the Cowboys to draft him.
Oh, really?
Yes.
He was a safety, cornerback?
Yes, correct. Safety.
Yeah, safety. He's from like Florida Atlantic, I want to say, or
yeah, something like that.
We need Florida schools.
I always wanted us to draft some sort of rangy free safety, and he was like
Oh, okay.
the one that year.
He's the one that got away.
Yep, there were a lot that got away.
Okay, so I know because we just did the Week 16 preview. I know Raiders are playing the Jaguars, and the Jaguars were. It was a point. The line was
It's half a
0.5.
point.
Was half a
Mhm.
point. I feel like in this one, I'm assuming Rudolph's going to be the quarterback for the Titans. Mac Jones. So this will be Mason Rudolph versus Mac Jones. Blinds may not get pulled up for this one. I'll say Titans minus 1.5.
So you have it as Titans favored.
Oh boy.
It is actually currently Jags minus 1.
Okay.
My line was Jags minus 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I went on a run. I had a couple on here where I actually like got pretty hot.
You were white hot.
I was white hot. So Jags minus 1. So based on your line, I'm guessing you're going to take.
Well, I mean, I just thought like, well, it is in Jacksonville, but
Mason
the Titans,
Rudolph deserves respect.
Well, but
Must be paid.
Okay, but quarterbacks aside, wouldn't you say the Titans have a better roster than the Jaguars, or am I just crazy?
I want to say there's been some injuries with I want to say like the Titans defense, which has been good, has been like on a downward trend. I was listening to like a podcast today, and they like mentioned the Titans defense and how it's kind of like been slipping lately. That's the only thing I'm basing this off of. So
Okay,
it's not very scientific here.
Fair enough. All right, last early game of Week 17, Sunday slate, Week 17. Chandler Catanzaro?
Yeah, kicker.
Catanzaro. Kicker, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Presents Panthers at Buccaneers. So the Bucks, they are currently a game up in the division over the Falcons, and the Falcons have beaten the Bucks twice. So this game could end up being for the division for the Bucks, depending on depending on if the Falcons are winning or not. Like if the Falcons stub their toe against the Giants, that's right, the Falcons got flexed to the Sunday night game this week. I forgot about that. But either way, the Buccaneers need to win this game. It's in Tampa. I mean, the Panthers have been spry, I would say, except for the Dallas game. They kind of. I'm gonna go Bucks minus 8.5.
So my line was Bucks minus 7.5.
Okay.
Actual line, Bucks minus 8.5.
Nice.
Spot on.
Got it. All right. Let's go again. Let's go. Come on, Mexico City.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably.
Don't tell me. You're gambling again, aren't you?
Yes, Newman, we are.
Yeah, I'm gonna lay the points too there.
I'm tempted to take them. I'm interested to see how the Panthers respond this week or Week 16 after
after that loss, that brutal beatdown
loss
at the hands of the Dallas Cowboys.
Now, again, the other thing I'll mention: Week 16, Tampa plays Sunday night, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a Sunday night game with Cowboys. So yeah, so it's not a short week, but it's
late travel.
Yeah, well, but it's a home game for Tampa, so we'll see. All right, I'll let you take this next one here.
Yes. Speaking of airing of grievances, DeMarco Murray presents Cowboys at Eagles. Paul, what's your line?
Do you have some problems with DeMarco Murray other than the fact he's a Sooner?
That and that he left the Cowboys.
Ah,
I will say
ah.
though, he we ran him into the ground and then he did nothing in Philadelphia, so
Did
it turned out being fine.
remind me? Did Harold Carmichael do the opposite? He played for Philadelphia, and then
Yeah,
went
he
to play
was
for Dallas.
Philly and then Dallas.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so the Eagles. This game could end up being for the division for the Eagles if they stub their toe against the Commanders. So the Eagles could have the division locked up by this point, depending on what happens in Week 16. I'm going to say this is Cooper Rush in Philadelphia. Last time they played, Eagles won last time. Yeah, the Eagles won last time they played. These two teams played, right? Yeah.
It was close, and then it got opened up at the end.
And that game was in Dallas, right?
Correct.
I'm going to say Eagles minus 6.5.
Whoa, you're short. Yeah, so I had Philadelphia minus 10.5. It is Philly minus 11.5.
Oh yeah, I guess the Cooper Rush effect.
You got way too much faith in Cooper Rush, just because he beat the fact he did beat the Panthers by more than the Eagles did.
But again, I'm thinking if the Eagles have the division wrapped up by this point,
they may.
I know they're not going to rest players, but like I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking more of how I think the game is going to go, rather than how the bookies.
Right.
Yeah, I'm of course going to take the Eagles because that's my tradition as a service to you. But
well, I hope you're wrong.
Fair enough. Yeah, because of the Cowboys. So what's the Cowboys, real quick? Their playoff hopes are they have to win out.
Yep. And I think Washington needs to lose one more game, which is reasonable.
Aside from the game against the Cowboys, they have to lose.
Correct. Yeah, because they need to lose one more before they get to week 18.
Yeah, because that would mean Dallas would be at 9, right? If Dallas wins out, they get to 9 wins.
Yep.
Okay, and then the Commanders would be at 9, but Dallas would have swept them.
Correct.
And then the only other teams to worry about would be Atlanta, because Atlanta's at 7 wins, so they could get to 10.
Mm-hmm.
If you win out, you beat Tampa, so that gets you a tiebreaker over them.
But Tampa might have won the division, so it might not matter.
Right. And then Arizona's at 7 wins. If they went out, they could get to 10, but they could win. It's kind of the same thing. They could win their division. So, yeah, I thought I saw somebody break down. I want to say the Cowboys are basically in the same position as the Bengals.
I was going to say
they have
Bengals.
to.
You know what? What's sad is like the Cowboys actually should have won that. Probably should have won that game, and they'd be in much better position right now.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm just for giggles here. I'm gonna. New York Times: How the Dallas Cowboys can make the playoffs. Oh, never mind.
Behind the paywall.
Behind the paywall. Dallas News. Huh? Yeah. Yeah.
A little more curiosity there.
Let's see. Well, you also have to get. Oh, this is how they get eliminated.
Oh, that's easy. Lose.
Yeah, right. Okay, so Dallas needs a win against Tampa Bay. This is for Week 16 to avoid elimination. But a Commanders win over the Eagles would eliminate Dallas as well. Not only that, but the Cowboys need losses from the 4 teams between the Commanders and Cowboys in the standings. Dallas can win, Washington can lose, but if Seattle keeps pace, it's Seattle the Cowboys would need to lose out. So I guess if Seattle beats Minnesota in Week 16, then I don't know. So
it's a mess.
I tell you, I don't see it happen. But
I gotta tell you, I don't see it happening either.
next game. One of these teams needs to win. One of these teams needs to get to the end of the season. Duke Johnson, former University of Miami legend,
Correct.
presents the Miami Dolphins against the Cleveland Browns, presuming this will be DTR's second start for the Browns. Well, okay, so here's the thing. So we talked about the Dolphins play the 49ers this week. If they lose, they're basically eliminated from the playoffs. I presume that this is going to be a cold weather game. This is Cleveland
Yes.
in December. Don't know how much that's going to factor in here because we know what happens when Miami plays in cold weather. I still think Miami's favored. I'm going to go Dolphins -7.
All right, so you're taking so my line here was Dolphins -1.5. So we are very different on here. We have very different.
We are, yeah.
So the line that I'm looking at right now has Browns plus 3.5. So I'm off by 2. You're off by 3.5.
Yeah, you win that one.
So I just slightly, if we took our averages, we'd be pretty good on here.
Yeah. Well, the last two I was way off. I was way. I don't know what I was thinking with the Cowboy Eagle game. I think
You're just a little more hopeful on the Cowboys than
some.
Yeah, I guess so. You believe in Cooper Rush.
Look. So he's the second coming of Andy Dalton, right?
I guess so.
Maybe he'll end up with the Saints at some point. He'll be our next. He'll be our next patron saint / Cowboy.
Sure.
So for this one, I'll lay the points with the Dolphins. I'll lay the 3.5 here. But as I said, I don't. After that Green Bay debacle, I don't trust the.
I think if this is DTR, I'll probably take the Dolphins, even though I don't feel good about it.
Yeah. Well, and that's another reason why I thought it'd be a little bigger if it's DTR. I mean, again, I know the Dolphins don't play well in cold weather, but still.
Correct.
By the way, quick check on the score here. Notre Dame 27, Indiana 3. Looks like it's about to go final here.
We are not going to get that cover, are we?
No, we are not. We are not. Although Indiana is driving to score a late touchdown here. All right. Sunday night, week 17, Sunday night. D'Angelo Hall presents Falcons at Commanders. So this game was flexed to Sunday night. The original, the game we just talked about, by the way, Dolphins Browns, that was the original Sunday night game for week 17.
I'm glad they flexed that one out.
Can you imagine?
No thanks. Well, at least I'd be able to not pay attention to the game.
Well, I would say if Jameis was starting, then okay. Then we talked about this in week 16 with the Bengals Browns getting flexed out. It's like if Jameis is starting, that could be entertaining. So at least you know. But this game actually could end up being important for the wild card because, as we've mentioned, if the Commanders lose to the Eagles week 16, that means the Commanders cannot win the NFC East. So their only hope for a playoff spot is the wild card.
Mm-hmm.
And assuming the Falcons take care of business against the Giants in Michael Penix's first start, week 16, then this becomes kind of a de facto playoff game almost, because then both these teams would have 8 wins. Right? Yeah, because the Commanders are at 8 wins right now, right? So both of these teams would have 8 wins, and the winner and the loser of this game would be behind the 8 ball, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in Washington. So the Falcons are at the Giants, and they're laying 9 with Penix as the starter. So at the Commanders, I'm going to say this is Commanders minus 3.5.
All right, so my line was Commanders -4. It's
I almost
Commanders
said -4.
minus 3.5.
Oh, yes. I almost
Nailed
did
it.
4. I almost
Oh
said
man.
4. I was about to say 4, and I was like, let's try 3.5.
It's spot on.
All right. So yeah, I'm gonna take. I actually might end up taking the points with the Falcons just to be a
jinx 'em.
jinx. To jinx them. I'll see. I'm interested to see.
Let's see whose
Like,
jinx is stronger here. I will lay the points with the commies.
there you go.
And you will
But
take the
I'm
points with the
interested
Falcons.
if Penix goes out against the. Now look, it's the Giants. Penix is kind of in a no-win situation, Week 16, because he's playing the Giants. So if he balls out, it's going to be
They'll
like,
say
well, yeah,
it's the Giants.
it's the Giants. So, but then some bookies might. This line may move a little bit because of it, and then depends on the Commanders too, right? Like if the Commanders go out against the Eagles and just get completely destroyed, and maybe Daniels gets hurt or something, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, if Daniels gets hurt, then all bets are off at that point, right?
Who's their backup? Who's the Commanders' backup?
Oh, I knew this, and then I didn't.
Well, because he had to play.
It's not Taylor Heineke anymore.
No, Heineke's with the Chargers.
It's not Sam Howell because Sam Howell
He's with the
is
Seahawks. Yeah, he's Geno's backup. Hang on. Can I give you? Oh, Marcus Mariota.
Oh, that's right.
And Jeff Driscoll is the third quarterback.
Congrats to him for still being in the league.
Former Bengal legend, Jeff Driscoll, I think.
I want to also say Broncos. He could have been the immaculate.
He could have been. He could have been our Bengal Bronco. Yeah, he definitely could have. All right, one last game here, Week 17, Monday night. At the beginning of the season, this looked like it could be a potential NFC Championship preview, but not so much now. Kerryon Johnson presents Lions at 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
49ers. So if the 49ers lose in Week 16 against the Dolphins, that eliminates them from the playoffs. Or if any of the other NFC West teams win, that also eliminates the 49ers. So all that to say, by the time we get to this game, the 49ers could be out of the playoffs altogether. Lions would be coming off a game against who did the Lions play this week? Why can I not remember? Bears, right? Yeah, they play the Bears this week.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah, they play the Bears this week. I mean, the Lions are going to be favored. By the way, what's the count so far?
So right now, I think we split 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we split 5. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, so you're
6 to 4. I'm going to end up winning.
You're going to win.
The gap.
I can close the gap here. I'm going to go Detroit -8.
Detroit -8. That is a big line there. So I had Detroit -3.5.
Okay.
Current line is Detroit -3.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I just don't, because some of these teams like the 49ers, I would think Vegas would be.
You think they're dead, but I think they're still holding on to kind of what they were before the season, right?
Yeah. And then for the Lions, like we said, for the Lions to get the 1 seed, they basically have to win out. Win out and they're the 1 seed. Vikings are in the same boat. For the Falcons, not the Falcons, sorry. Yeah, for the Falcons to get the 1 seed, they need to start over.
They need every other team to have a plane crash.
Well, I was going to say to have stomach poisoning, but okay.
Something like
food
that.
poisoning. For the Eagles to get the 1 seed, they would need the Vikings or Lions to lose in the next 2 weeks, and then whichever one of those teams lost in the next 2 weeks, they would need that team to win the Week 18 game, Vikings versus Lions. If that makes sense, like they basically need the Eagles. The Eagles cannot finish with the same number of wins as either the Vikings or the Lions and get the 1 seed because of strength of victory. I think is the key there. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Lions -3 here against the Niners. Because again, I don't think nobody can clinch the 1 seed in the NFC this week. I don't think.
I don't think so.
They may be able to clinch it week 17, depending on. I'm just going to do a quick check. But while I'm checking that, let's move on to Georgia's getting upset.
This is not good. Worlds are colliding. Georgia's getting upset.
Okay, and then real quick, so the 1 seed in the NFC cannot be clinched this week in week 16. So just to put a button on that. Upset pick. Okay, so let's see here. You want to go first, Brandon? What do you got?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm kind of scrolling through these games, and none of them look particularly appetizing.
Yeah.
God. I'm going to say this is really borderline, but I guess I'll take the Packers to upset the Vikings here.
Okay.
It's a Vikings are -1.5. You and I both had it as a pretty close game too. Just I think the ceiling for the Packers offense is pretty high, and so there's a chance that they could go into Minnesota and win that game. It's a divisional game too, so that kind of plays into it.
I'm gonna go. We talked about this. I'm just gonna go with the Titans over the Jaguars.
There you go.
Even though what was it? It was 1.
Yeah, it's a 1-point game.
So this could end up flipping to Titans being favored. I mean, this could be like a Chiefs in week 16. We talked about last episode. I was like, can I pick the Chiefs as my upset? And you were like, no, absolutely not. But yeah, I'll pick the Titans there. So you got the Packers over the Vikings. I'll have the Titans over the Jaguars. Now let's move on to Jerry. It's a lock.
Oh, Jerry, it's a lock. Kramer, you've had this thing under control for almost 3 years now.
All right, I went first on the upset, so I'll give you first pick of the litter here with the lock.
Okay, with the lock. Okay. So for week 16, I'm trying to remember who my lock was for week. Let me look it up real quick. For week 16, my lock was.
You have the Vikings.
The Vikings over the Seahawks. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That could be interesting. I could go against your upset pick. I don't want to take the Vikings.
Take the Vikings again?
No, I don't want to do it 2 weeks in a row. I'll go Chargers over Patriots as well.
Okay. Oh, you're picking against the Drake.
I am picking against the Drake. I do think that the Drake will cover, but I think because the Chargers are going to need that game. That's going to be a win and end situation for the Chargers. So that's why I kind of think they'll pull it out at the end eventually. What's your lock? You're on a hot streak with your locks. We should point out.
I am. I think I'm like 12-1 at this point or something.
Yeah, and go ahead.
So my lock this week for the upcoming game is the Bengals.
Yep. Bengals over Browns.
Yep.
Yep.
against DTR. I think I'm just gonna. All right, I'll just go with this divisional matchup here, and I will take.
Okay.
Ooh, I'll take the Bills over the Jets.
That's where I thought you might go.
Yeah,
It's
although my record with picking the Jets games has not been
right.
too good.
Yeah. I mean, and the one thing I'll say, we'll see what happens with the Jets playing the Rams this week.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like Devontae Adams him and Rodgers found something last week against the Seahawks. Or was it the Seahawks? Oh, no, who did they play last week? The Jaguars. It was the Jaguars they played last week.
Right.
But I mean, that's the Jaguars. That's a little different than the Rams or the Bills.
The Bills.
Yeah. So, all right. So, for those playing at home, the Week 17 Bless Them Boys parlay is my upset pick, the Titans over the Jaguars,
Mm-hmm.
and your lock,
The
which
Bills
is
over the
Bills
Jets.
over the Jets. I have a feeling you probably can't get odds on it yet, but I have a feeling that's not going to be a high payout because that Bills over Jets money line
It's probably
has
going
to
to be
be
like
like
plus 180 or something.
yeah,
That's
the parlay. You mean the
yeah,
parlay?
the
Yeah,
parlay. Yeah,
because the
that
Titans Jags will basically be a pick 'em, and
mm-hmm.
then the Bills are going to be
like minus 500 or something.
yeah. So yeah, you'd be lucky to get like even odds almost on the plus side. But all right, so that'll conclude our week 17 preview. So again, next time we talk to you, we will be post Christmas. So we hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa,
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah,
Happy
Happy
Festivus.
Happy Festivus. So if you're listening to this on Festivus, may your feats of strength be strong. May your grievances be aired.
May
And
your aluminum pole be be not
tinsel
decorated with
free.
tinsel free. That's
Tinsel
right.
tinsel free, yeah. And have a good strength to weight ratio or whatever
Yeah.
whatever phrase.
Yes.
But we will be recording again on New Year's Eve, and then
Mm-hmm.
we'll release the episode in time for the Week 18 games. And I believe Week 18 they're going to have games on Saturday and Sunday. I think they
Yep.
haven't announced this yet, but there'll
They
be
usually
games there.
do.
Yeah, but we will definitely have the episode out in time. Probably that Thursday the 2nd, somewhere around there. Anyway, but until then, folks, happy football.
Happy football.